Okay, so welcome to the second session related to MapReduce function. So on the previous session, I explained the theoretical part of the MapReduce. So where I already explained that the MapReduce function is, it actually contains two functions, that is the map and reduce, right? So the map phase, that is a fast process, it is actually a process where each document from the collection, okay, so it processes each documents from a particular collection, and it emits one or more objects for each input document. So that is already right, from the previous session. So related to the next phase, that is the reduce phase. So in the reduce phase, that is actually the second phase of the MapReduce. And in the second phase, what happens is it actually, the reduce phase combines, or rather the reduce function combines the output of the map operation, right? So one more important point, that is, you'll have to remember that the MapReduce uses the custom JavaScript functions to perform map and the reduce operations, right? So both the map and the reduce functions are the user defined or the custom JavaScript functions, right? So now today I will show you the coding related to the MapReduce, that how the map and the reduce function is working. I will show you that. So for that, I will start MongoDB by writing Mongo over here. And as you can see, the Mongo has already started. Now, the first comment that I'm going to write is show DBS, that to view the list of databases present in my database, in my system actually. So as you can see, admin, config, employees, local, map, func, and then the new data 2, all of these databases are present in my system, right? So let's say that I want to create a new database, that is, let's say use, with the use keyword, I'll be writing the name of my database, that is, let's say MapRed. Okay, so for the MapReduce, I'm keeping in short that use MapRed, right? Next, you hit enter, and you can see that we have switched to the DB MapRed, right? So currently we are working under the MapRed database. Now inside the database, we'll have to create the collection, right? So how to create a collection? That is DB dot the function, or rather the keyword, that is the create collection, and inside bracket we'll have to give the name of the collection, that is, let's say map tests, right? So map tests will be the name of the collection that we want to add to the database. That is, the name of the database is MapRed and the name of the collection is map tests. So I will hit enter, and as you can see, I have inserted the collection to the database. So again, if I write show DBS, now you will be able to see my new, the database that I created right now, that is a MapRed. Okay, so it is there in the list of databases there in my system. So now next what I will do is, since as we all know that the MapReduce is actually used for a very large database, but since I am actually creating a database, so my database will actually not be that much huge, but rather I will try to add some documents to my data, and I will try to operate on that particular data. So I will enter some documents to my collection, that is db dot the name of the collection, that is map tests dot insert, right? Open the first bracket, open the curly bracket, And then let's say I am having, I just want to add a set of names, okay, different names of some people and some the name of the books, or maybe I can write with book 1, book 2 as well, like that, that who has taken which book, okay, or who is having actually which book with them. So let's say I will write like this, that name. So this is the first field, and let's say I take the name as Rohan, and he is having, let's say, the book called book 1, right? So let's say he is having the book, it is book 1, right? And then I will close this document by closing the first the curly bracket and then the first bracket. So as you can see, I have actually inserted one document to my database, rather to my collection, right? So I will try to insert another document to my collection. Let's say the second name will be Aditya, and the second for the second document, let's say Aditya is having book 2, right? Next, I will enter another, the third document. Let's say the name is Rishi, and for the book the person is having, let's say book 3, the person is having, right? So book 3, right? And next, I will add another document, and let's say for this person is Rohan, okay? So the first person was Rohan. Now see, again I am entering Rohan, right? So now I will, for this I will write book 4, okay, book 4, right? Next, what I will do is I will enter once again, and let's say I again enter Avicii, and let's say this is book 5, and with that I want to add one more, information. It is borrowed, one more data I am adding with this one, and that is borrowed is true. Okay, so that is actually possible. I think you all know in MongoDB we can actually add more than one data over there in MongoDB, even when we have not inserted anything in the previous documents. So borrowed over here is true, right? Fine. Next, let's say I will enter another data. Let's say the name is Rakesh, and he is having let's say book 6, and his case is also borrowed true. I will enter 1 second. Yes, so all of the documents I have successfully entered, right? So now let's say for all of these data that I have entered, now I will try to do the MapReduce task on this data that we have in our collection, right? And the name of our collection is map tests, right? So now to do the MapReduce function, what I will have to do is first declare the map function. That you'll have to declare the map function like this. That is the function, then the name of the function, that is map, and opening bracket, closing bracket, and again you'll have to open the curly bracket, then emit. So what I want to emit is I want to emit this dot name. So the name will be emitting, and as well as this dot title, right? So this dot name and this dot title will be emitting, right? So after that, once I define or declare the map function, I will declare the second function, that is the reduce function. Okay, So reduce function, as you all know, so the reduce function is having a key value pair. So I will write key value inside that as a parameter, and I will pass what I want to actually return, that is value dot join. I want to actually join the records, right? So return value dot join. So what is the value over here? Value is the title, and the key is the name, right? So based on the name, the title of the books will be joined, right? So I will just hit enter over here, and next again, what I'll have to do is you'll have to write db dot the name of your collection, that is map tests dot MapReduce. So this is the final function that I'm going to write. So db dot map tests dot MapReduce, and I will have to pass all of the functions that I've already defined. Okay, so the function map, then the function reduce. Okay, first I'm passing the function map, and then the reduce function, and then after that I'll have to write out colon, I will write inline colon 1. I will just explain why I'm writing this kind of things, and then query. So this is an optional part, or let's say skip that part for as of now. So inline 1, just close it and close the first bracket, right? And a semicolon is actually optional. You can give it, or if you don't wish, you can leave that as well. So out colon inline colon 1, which actually means I have explained in the previous session that in out, after writing out colon, you'll have to write the name of the file where the document is actually going to get stored. But over here I have written inside, again I have opened again curly bracket, and I have written inline colon 1, means the whole the details will be shown over here only, instead of storing it in the file, right? So I will show it with the help of another name as well. I will show it with another example, right? So as of now, let's out colon inline 1. If I'm writing like this, what will happen is, see, we have actually mapped and reduced the documents that we have entered. So for Avicii, if you remember, so Avicii, I had entered book 3 and book 5, right? So for Avicii, I entered, see, Avicii was book 3, this one, and for Avicii, the book 5 was also there, right? So we have mapped and reduced it into one particular array. And again, if I'm writing Aditya, then Aditya is actually, we had only one, like he had only one book, that is book 2. It is showing only book 2 over here, that's why. Now again for Rohan, book 4, and again book 1, right? So that is why for Rohan it is showing 2 books, that is book 4 and book 1. And Rakesh is also again had one book, that is book 6. So Rakesh is showing for book 6, right? This is how we are actually doing the map and the reduce task over here. Now I will just write that out in line 1, and I will just add one extra keyword, that is query, that I actually said that is actually optional. So this query part is actually optional. So I will consider this borrowed part now. So query colon, I will write borrowed, okay, and if it is true, okay, if it is true, then only I'm going to consider those documents in my collection whose the titles are actually like borrowed. Okay, so only the borrowed part we are going to consider. Okay, so borrowed equals to true if it is the value, then we are going to consider those documents, and the rest we are going to skip. So what is expected? It is expected. So we are going to get only these 2 values, right? Avicii and Rakesh, right? So let's see whether I'm getting it or not. So once I hit enter, see, yeah, I'm getting, right? So for Avicii, I'm getting book 5 and Rakesh book 6. Why I'm getting for Avicii? I'm only getting book 5 because Avicii book 5 was there and that was actually borrowed true. But in the previous case, Avicii, that was book 3, but in that case, borrowed true was actually not true. So it was not actually considered, and we have it printed only for the book 5, right? So that is how we are going to put some added extra, condition to a certain query in MongoDB in the MapReduce functions, right? So okay, so this is all about the first example. Now let's say I want to create another collection. Let's say the name of the collection is new visit, where I will show you another. So this is the end of the first example, right? So now I will show you another example. Okay. So let's say I want to create a new database, that is, let's say use new visit. So use is the keyword and the new visit is the name of the database, right? So over here in new visit, I want to create, or I want to enter certain details of certain patients who visited doctors due to certain issues. Okay, so let's say db, or rather, yeah, so db dot, let's say I'll just enter directly visited. So visited is the name of the collection, let's say, and I'm just trying to insert directly without defining explicitly the name of the collection. So visited is actually the name of the collection, and insert, and then name colon, let's say Martin, and visit reason. What is the visit reason? The visit reason is let's say joint problem. Okay, and how many times he visited, that is the visit count. Okay, so visit count is let's say he visited 2 times, right? Next I will okay, maybe I have missed something. Uncaught exception, missing yeah, so I have opened the bracket and just try to check it once again. Okay, so it will be like this. Let's say, yeah, so I have inserted the first document, right? First document is inserted in my collection. So let's say I will enter one more document. Let's say the name is Shivani, and the issue is, let's say, the same problem. Maybe let's consider, so the joint problem. Okay, so joint problem, and the visit count, let's say number of times visited is 6. Okay, different value. Now let's say take another document, and so for that, let's say Anvesha, and let's say the reason is cold, and number of times visited is, let's say, 8. And next, let's say I want to create another document. So Rohan, and the visit reason, let's say blood pressure, Okay, so Rohan, let's say, but blood pressure, or let's say keep it, let's consider the same. Let's say cold. Okay, Rohan, visit reason, let's say let it be the same, that is cold, and let's say the visit count is 4, right? Next, I will create another document. Let's say the name is Aniket, and the visit reason is let's say for this person it will be blood pressure, right? And the visit count, let's say 1. Next, I will again add one document, and the name is, let's say, Nunal. The reason, let's say some different reason, maybe sore eyes. Okay, and the visit count, let's say it is 2. Now next I will enter one more. Let's say let's consider this as final. So Tejas, and let's say this as reason maybe back pain. Okay, and let's say the number of times visited is 5. Okay, so I have inserted a lot of documents, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to define the map function and the reduce function, right? So another way to define the map function is like this, that we'll have to write var, and after that write the name of the variable, that is the map function, let's say, and with that you'll have to write function and open the curly bracket, then write emit, open the first bracket, this dot visit reason, and this dot visit count, right? So after that I will close the curly bracket, give a semicolon. Yes, so now I have successfully defined the map function by defining, sorry, so I have written something wrong over here, so it will be like this, visit reason. So yes, so the var map function is, so this is actually the name of a variable, that is map function, and so this is the actual map function, that is the function, and with that I want to emit the key and the value pair, right? So over here the key is the visit reason and the visit count is the value, right? So based on the visit reason we are going to group the visit count, or the number of times the patients visited for a particular issue, right? So with that I have so that is why I have written the pair of the key and the value pair, that is a visit reason and the visit count. Next, what I will do is, in similar way, I will have to declare the reduce function. So it is var, and let's say reduce function, right, equals to, so function open bracket, and I will have to pass the parameter of this. What are the parameters I'm going to pass? The parameters are the visit reason and visit count, right? So the visit reason and visit count, right? So these are the two parameters that I'm going to pass as the intermediate. So the visit reason and visit count, this emit this map function, gave the output as the intermediate data, and now I am passing the visit reason, the key and the value pair as the intermediate data, as the input to the reduce function, right? So visit reason comma visit count. So I have give the two parameters, and you'll have to open the curly bracket, and then you'll have to return array dot sum visit count. So this is the value that I'm going to actually return. So why the array dot sum? Because I want the summation of the number of times the patients visited for a particular issue, right? So for that, I have written that array dot sum, and the visit count is the value, right? So visit count, and after that you'll have to close the curly bracket and semicolon. So now, as you can see, I have declared the reduce function as well. Now what I will do is I will define the MapReduce function, the final function. And what was the name of, so db dot the format is db dot the collection name, right? So what is the name of the collection? That is visited, right? db dot visited. So over here I will write db dot visited dot the MapReduce. So MapReduce, right? Open the first bracket, and I will have to pass the parameters, that is the map function, right? And next what I'm going to pass is the reduce function, the second parameter, and finally the out part. So out, let's say I want to save or store the output in a new collection. So let's say map underscore reduce underscore example. Okay, and I will close the curly bracket, right? So after that I will close the first bracket, give a semicolon. Okay, so now I think again I have done some error over here. So so map function is not defined. Okay, so so what is the error is that, you know what, so as you can see, I have given the over here if as capital letter. Okay, but what I have done over here is map function, the whole thing I've written as small, right? So that is the error. Okay, so I will actually do it again. That is, I will just try to keep it in small. So map function and reduce function, both the ifs I will keep it in small. Okay, and hit enter. Yes, so now I can see that I have successfully declared the MapReduce function as well, right? Now if I want to display the list of, you know, the data that we have MapReduced. So now what is the name of the collection where we have stored our data? That is the map underscore reduce underscore example, right? So now instead of writing db.visited, okay, instead of writing db.visited, we will write map underscore reduce underscore example, right? So db.map underscore reduce underscore example, right? Dot find. So if I write like this, you can see that for cold, the number of times visited is 12, right? For joint problem, so number of times visited is 8. So if you actually check over here, so a cold, if you see for cold, it is a number of times visited was first, it was 8, and again for cold, number of times visited was 4. So 8 plus 4, I'm getting 12 over here. For cold, it is 12. For joint problem, it is 8. So joint problem, first time Martin visited, for joint problem 2 times, and next Shivani visited for joint problem, 6 times, right? So 6 plus 2, it is giving me 8 as the final count as 8. Now for the back pain, it is showing 5 because back pain is, yeah, so back pain is only there, one is there, so 5. And for sore eyes also it was 1, so it is 2 for sore eyes, and for blood pressure it is 1. So these three reasons are only 1, so I'm getting the same result, right? So this is how I'm getting the aggregated result, right? So instead of we don't have actually, so if this is actually, we consider if this is a very big data and thousands of patients came for a checkup. Now if I want to check the summary for a particular disease, that how many people visited for this particular disease, then for 1,000 patients it is not actually possible to count it manually. So if I write the MapReduce, or if I implement the MapReduce function on this data, right? So I will be getting the aggregated result as the summary output, right? As a summary, you'll be getting the result, right? So let's say I want to sort the data, okay, according to the number of times visited, okay. So let's see how to do that. So that is actually an optional part, as I said during the presentation. That is, sort is actually an optional part in MongoDB and obviously in MapReduce. So db.map_reduce_example, right, dot find, right, and then you'll have to write sort. And so this is an extra condition I'm going to put over here. So _ID:1, right? So if I'm writing like this, see, I have sorted the data in this format, right? So now as you can see, so sort, if you're writing like this, then you'll be getting the answer like this. And if you're writing -1, so you'll be getting the answer like this, right? So this is how I am getting the output of the sorted data. And if you're writing simply, that is the db dot the name of the collection dot find, okay, so then you will get the whole collection of data that we have aggregated, okay. And also I will show you with the help of .pretty command. So we are writing .pretty. So actually, we don't have actually a format over here. So we all I entered all the data in the single line. So if you're writing .pretty, so I just wanted to show you, because this one also, that is why the reason is I have inserted all the data in a single line only. So we don't have to further, there is no chance to further design the whole documents, right? So in this format only you will be able to see, right? So okay, so that is now I think now you have now understood that the MapReduce is actually performed on to each document, right? On each document, this MapReduce function is getting performed. If you are not giving any extra condition, okay, and the map operation emits the key value pairs, right? So I have already explained that. And for the keys having multiple values, MongoDB applies the reduce phase, which collects and condense the aggregated data, and finally the result will be stored in a particular collection. So in our case, what we have done is we have stored our aggregated data in map_reduce_example collection, right? So this is actually user defined. You can write any other name as well, okay? So this way this MapReduce function works, right? So now if you have any query, you can ask now.